All right, so let's go through this double deep and try to condense these bees down to a single deep and get them ready for the winter time. Again, I do this mainly because I need these frames, and I put this box on here during the nectar flow so they could draw these frames out for me because this hive was super strong. And they did a okay job at drawing all these frames out in here. Some are drawn, some aren't. But yeah, I'm going to show you guys how I condense this double deep down to a single deep. And there's a lot of perks to doing this, especially for the springtime. When I come through here in the springtime, I will only have one deep and 10 frames to go through. I won't have to go through both boxes and deal with doing reversals because the whole cluster is up in the top. They will all be in the single. So first thing I want to do is figure out where the brood nest is. And my goal is to put all the brood right here in the center and then have my resources on the outside, whether I have to take it from the top box or if they have it down here in the bottom box. So here's pretty much an empty frame. Don't really want that in there. Like I said, you're trying to put a box and a half, 2 boxes of bees and consolidate them down to one. So here I got nectar. Yeah, nectar, stores, and pollen. So that's a good frame to keep in this single. And I'll put that down in the bottom box on the outside. And then now I'm starting to get into my brood. And I'm going to keep all the brood in this box. I'm not taking any brood and putting it anywhere. I'll keep all this brood here. Yeah, it's beautiful, well-fed larvae, and good brood pattern. So there's one frame of brood. Here's 2 frames. So that's a total of 3 frames of brood right here. Let's just keep going until we get to the end of that brood nest, and then we'll mess with that top box. All right, more brood here. Put that back. I'm going to be feeding these bees today, so they'll get a gallon, and I'm going to put stored frames, nectar frames on the outside here so they have some food to eat. It's been super hot recently. There's not a whole lot out there. There's another brood frame. So now we're up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 brood frames. I like to see this time of year in my boxes around 6 in my singles. So if my singles have, 6 frames of brood, that's good. That's what I want. You got to think, it takes a lot of food for a colony to feed this young larva. And here is more. This is all open larva here. Same thing on this side, all open larva. Man, that apigard shut them down for about a week. And then now they've just picked up, laying like crazy. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames of brood. There's 7. So now we're getting a little too big for what I like. That's a lot of bees that are going to be in that box. But you got to think that this time of year in August, these queens should start to slow down some. And honestly, in a hive like this, I want them to slow down. All right, so here is a little bit of brood, but also actually really pretty much a resource frame. So let's shake these bees off, take that out. That's got some good nectar in it. Again, I could really use these frames that are down here in this bottom box for my other hives. Let's go through this bottom one and I'll show you how we're going to do this. All right, so if I can find some frames down here that have some good stored nectar, that's what I want for this colony. And I'm just going to shake out all the other frames that are in here. You can see these were all fresh frames, and they did a good job drawing these, at least starting to. And that's why I like singles too, because you can put these bees to work. They would have just sat here in this single box and not had any frames to draw. But with all the splits that I made, you know, this is perfect because I can use this wax. Yeah, there's a good nectar frame there. Some good nectar frame, put that one to the side. A little bit more food. I'll pick the heaviest and best frames that I think have the most resources on them. These are all empty. I'm pretty positive the queen didn't come up in here. But again, you just never know, so you just want to shake all these bees off. And I'm looking for her as I go. There's no eggs up in here. Good looking bees. All right, so I did have some food. 3 food frames, not the most food, but I'm gonna throw a gallon of sugar water on them today. Take this box. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frames of brood in this box here. This is a pollen and resource frame. I'm going to take this nectar frame for food, put it right there on the outside, and this one that has food in it, I'll put this one on the other side. Give me some room to work with here. Yeah, and now that sets me up for how I'll run them in the winter. They have this is open and this is open, no brood on this frame or this frame. So as soon as I give them that sugar water, they'll go in there and they'll fill that up. And as that queen starts to shrink down her laying, that nest will go from these 7 frames to 4 or 3 right here. And then I'll continue to feed later in the fall, and they'll fill this nest out with sugar water to get through the winter.